Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the debut round of the ESR GT Challenge Series Season 6. I am your host, Cole McCray, and we're joined by a fan favorite classic co-commentator. This is Justin Swan. Say hello, Justin.
Hello, I'm back slightly.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Hey, any amount of backness is appreciated here. Today is October 17th, not 10th, as the poster says. Shame. That got delayed due to Canadian Thanksgiving, which is slightly earlier than real Thanksgiving. But it's okay. We forgive them for their transgressions, and we move on. Yes, so this is a new season of the GT Challenge, one that we haven't seen quite in a while. Oops, looks like a little sizing issue here. OBS is just going to do whatever it wants, but we'll figure it out.
We will survive.
We will indeed survive.
Hey, hey.
Yeah, so we're changing the format a little bit from the last round. We may end up going back to the kind of fancier stuff from season 5, but for now, it's just kind of a little more loose, just to kind of make because everyone's been out of the group for a little bit, so we got some new players, so we're just playing it safe. We got something in excess of 20 people in the field right now. Um, Not entirely sure how many right now. Looks like nope, just 20. Okay, so just 20 so far. Plenty of familiar names as usual, but some non-familiar names as well. We've got a couple of carryovers from other series that we haven't seen in ACC in a minute. Chief among which Zoltan Kalmundi, we haven't seen in a hot second in ACC, but he's been in the Racing series for a while. Um, and some new names, of course. This will be a learning experience for all of us, because why not? Everyone likes learning. Matt Higgs just stole first place, pole position on the qualifying board. Albert Arjona was previously sitting on the top. That'll be already the rivalry is beginning. I mean, who expected anything less?
Did it ever stop?
No,
Time
no, but
stopped. Racing stopped. Rivalries don't stop, do they?
no, never. We they run deep. So a brief overview of how this series is differing from the past ones. Unfortunately, we have left the fantastic year of 2016, and we're back in 2020/2021. I think 2020 because ACC doesn't have any 2021 stuff.
How
Anyway,
time flies.
I know, right? It's amazing. It felt like it was just a couple months ago, but we kind of went into hibernation and woke up, and like no time had
Whew.
passed, right?
COVID, what a doozy.
Exactly, exactly. So this is going to be kind of a mixed bag, a little bit taking what we did in the last series to Dominic Turcotte going over that rumble strip and having a little two-wheel action. But anyway, yeah, things are going to be a little bit more complicated from the schedule perspective. So we got three types of races. We got a World Challenge, International or Intercontinental, apologies, and the I don't know what BGT stands for, but British
British
maybe. I don't.
GT.
Oh, okay, that's what I figured.
I would imagine. I'm actually not running it this year or this
Yeah,
season, so I'm
I know.
I'm still hands off. But I'll pick up some slack where I can and help out where I can. So
Yeah, exactly. So the World Challenge rounds, which is going to be, and there will be a quiz at the end of this, Justin, is the World Challenge rounds. They'll have just a regular sprint, 60-minute race with a
yeah.
one pit stop required. That's going to be Hungaroring race 1, Nürburgring race 3, race 5 and 6 at Brands Hatch and Imola, and race 8 at Spa. Um,
Okay.
the
One, three,
international,
five, 6, and 8.
yep,
Playing
yep,
those numbers tonight at the pick four. Now, what? Educate me
exactly.
some.
The Intercontinental rounds are going to have a double parking format, which essentially means 90 minutes, a kind of semi-enduro with two pit stops required.
Okay.
Um, yes, and that's going to be, there's only going to be three of those. That's going to be race 2, Kyalami, race 7, Suzuka, and race 9, the finale at Bathurst. That's a blast from the past. Um,
Absolutely.
exactly. So then, and that's Intercontinental. The British GT, quote unquote British, is going to be a multi-sprint format. So it's going to be two races, each 30 minutes, with a hyper short qualifying on race 2, and that's going to be race 4, and that's it. Yeah, so that's the
Okay.
only multi-sprint, and that's at,
And where is that held?
Donington. Donington.
Donington. Okay, so a double start at a double race at Donington.
Yeah, double Donington.
Double
You
Donington.
got quadruple D's there.
And how many
Um,
ends are there in Donington Raceway in Donington?
I thought 3. This says only 2. So isn't it DONNING or is
The
it?
track has a different number of D's as the location.
Oh, okay. That is infuriating.
Excuse me, I say D's, I meant ends. Different
Oh,
number of
ends.
ends is
Yeah.
the location. Yeah. I
I would
think
hope
one
there's the same number of
the
D's.
town has
2,
2
3.
and the track has 1 as far as the double N, I mean.
Oh no, there's 4. Okay, I forgot the last N. I'm an idiot. I never said I was smart.
No.
There, DONINGTON.
Yes,
Interesting.
in DONNINGTON. So
I hate it
they
so
like to
much.
keep you keep you uh on your toes.
Yeah, exactly. How many N's are in toes?
How many N's are in toes?
Yeah.
0.
Are you sure? I don't know anymore.
Well, if you
Eh,
mean in toes, then there's 1. INTOES. In
okay,
toes.
that sounds like it makes enough
I
sense
don't
to
know,
be
maybe you're
valid.
trying to go for something a little
I don't know
a
what
little
I'm
more
going for.
eclectic here. I have no
I'm trying to
idea.
figure out how many N's there are in anything, really. Like, do we
I
know
don't know.
anymore?
I don't know.
Anyway,
Let's get off the topic of the letter N before.
yeah, exactly. I mean, is this a Sesame Street episode? Today's
I
episode is
think
brought to you
so.
by the letter N.
You know, when I was a kid in kindergarten, we had these little blow up dolls,
Uh-oh.
and they were letters, and they were superheroes. So
Ah.
I very specifically remember them. Most specifically, the letter M, for reasons I don't understand, but I very vividly remember the letter M. But yeah,
Ah.
that was interesting. That was how we learned the alphabet.
That's a good idea. Like balloons, kids love those.
Yeah.
I still love him now. Anyway, qualifying order as it stands: Matt Higgs in first place, holding off Albert Arjona in second. Javier Castaño Munoz, AXRT starting out strong, but Sean Kenny in fourth, right behind him. So that'll be already starting off interesting. Why not? Gianmarco Silvestri fifth, Marco Bessi in sixth, Max Simmons in the NSX for once, turning out strong in seventh. Dominic Turcotte eighth, Zoltan Kelmundi ninth, and Matt Smith in top 10. And you can see all the others after that. Let's
So I have a
get
question. As
yes.
I am new here, our weather forecast is looking doomy and gloomy. What's the stipulations? Is this a series that has rain tires? Are they? Is that an
Um.
option? Is that a variable? Are these drivers going to be under the umbrella?
Yes. So it is a possibility, I believe. I don't think it is. In this one, it is. Wait, actually, hold on. Oh, actually, no, no. Okay, yeah. So no wet weather in this series, according to the charter for this series. So there'll be
Have they looked in
clouds,
the sky?
but 0% chance of rain, according to our organizers. So,
Well, I hold on, let me do my little hex here. I'm putting a hex
oh,
on it because I
commentary's
know
curse.
I know exactly. I know a few things here about the weather model in this game from my fidgeting. Many things.
Uh-oh.
I think we're going to have rain today.
You think so?
I think we're getting rain today.
I,
Because the
I, I,
track is optimum and it's been very heavily cloudy, and usually that means the rain hasn't come yet. So
okay.
I'm
All
wait.
right.
You can't see me right now, but right now I'm wiggling my fingers and I'm pulsating them in the sky like jazz hands. I'm putting a hex on it. I'm putting a hex
Okay,
on it.
all right. The
You
jazz
know,
hands don't lie.
the jazz hands don't lie. Spirit fingers and all. We're out here. We're raising the roof. You know.
Yeah,
So
okay,
so
all right.
educate me. We have about 3 minutes until the start of this race. In 2 minutes, in 2 of those minutes, what can you tell me about the faces I don't recognize? Because I'm new here as far as the new blood, the new talent. I recognize Bessie and Silvestri as some of our silver, bronze, gold drivers that are kind of in the mix from last season that didn't really have a breakout year yet. But what about Mr. Staffed? Uh, how I'm sorry, Halsao Carnalosi. I'm gonna assume that's a soft C, like a Portuguese.
Yes.
Alçao. I see Biglino here and fan favorite and Academy graduate Cliff Hemian, but I don't recognize everybody. So what in about 2 minutes here? What can you tell me about these? Do you know anything about these drivers?
I do know. Oh, ye of little faith. But it's well placed faith, because I don't know a whole lot about them. I do know, being they are newcomers, as of they actually, a lot of these people made their debut in the 3D Speed series last, I think 3 weeks ago, and most of them are bronze. So Ayrton Arsenault, Jeremy Reeder, Alan Carnelosi, and I believe also Mitchell. Is Mitchell here? No, Mitchell is not here. Taft is definitely a bronze driver. So these guys are kind of a they're a bit of a mix. Areasa, I'm not entirely sure what rank they are. So, but they're variations of newcomers. They're to ESR and sim racing alike. So we're gonna expect a lot of kind of mixed performance. They're good on the battles. So they're generally maybe a little bit over aggressive, but they keep it relatively clean. And I think it'll do a lot to spice up. I don't know their dynamics. So as far as like how they interact with some of the other teams and the like, most of them are single cars. But like Ariasa, and I don't think Daniel Hernandez is here. But those are a team, and I believe oh no, yeah, and those are the only that's the only newcomer team.
I
Um,
see.
so for the
Well, I'm
most,
excited to see him.
yeah, no, it's good to see
I
more
love
people.
new
I mean,
blood.
yeah, and like I said, from what I've seen from 3D Speed, they are go-getters. Like as happens when you're a newcomer to this kind of intense action, they can be a little over aggressive, but they're not bad. And they keep it generally very clean.
Well,
So it'll be fun.
as they say, blood for the blood gods. Who do
Exactly,
you think is
exactly.
going to be the now? We want a clean start, and we all love clean starts. I love them more than anybody else, but everybody here knows that first race of the season is usually a little bit
A
of
little
a
bloody.
bath.
Yep.
Yeah, there's definitely some parts missing. Who do you think is going to be the big winner and loser looking at this grid? Do you think Higgs is going to be able to get away off the line in that McLaren? I'm not sure what
Well,
kind of acceleration it has in comparison to the Porsches coming out the hole here.
Well, the Porsches, as we've noticed many times in the past, but just to reiterate, Porsches are very sharp. And turn one Hungaroring and things like. And by the way, green flags are waving, so we are go for launch on this race, this inaugural. We are 4 or 5 wide in going into turn one. Matt Higgs is hounding Arjona, keeping him wide. But I predict that the Porsches are going to be hard to run away from. However, Matt Higgs has proven in the past to be aggressive, and when he's not encumbered by someone in front of him, he is pretty potent. That said, if you're someone in front of him, God be with you, or uh, our prayers, we pray for you, especially if you're one of his teammates saying that you're in front of Matt. Oh wow, watch out. Look, Sean Kenny doing well though, already passed by Javier Castaño. Um, and already we're kind of seeing that Matt Higgs pulling off 1.6 seconds before
Oh,
turn. Ooh, that's getting a little shady.
unfortunately, Ben, the rear of the field, Thomas Biglino, I believe it was, got a little bit loose coming off of the turn 4 or 5. Collected, I believe, one of the Lamborghinis. We got a few cars off at the chicane as well. It looks like to
We get
be,
the 29 to 98. That's Staffed and Carnelosi.
yeah, one of the Bend McLarens as well as someone else. So
One memento here.
all in all, the field behaved itself pretty well, which is a good sign for the season to come here.
Yeah,
Turcott,
no, it's been pretty clean even with all these new drivers. A little contact is kind of expected. Carnelosi got the much worse of that. He's still falling behind, so there's a chance he has some damage. Although, Staffed and Arsenault are having a little tussle as we speak. My controls are not behaving. What a shocker. No one could have expected that.
Well, in the meantime, here I can give you the radio broadcast if you need. The front of the field is thinning out as Higgs takes an early lead. He had the fastest purple sector in the center section of the track, so seems to be where he stretches his legs. He
hmm
also had a slightly better third sector in qualifying compared to the Porsches, so we'll have to see where that leads him. There's a chance he might end up just running away with it. Arjona is being hounded by, I believe, his teammate of the season or
Kenny,
his
yep.
teammate from past. Yep, Kenny. He's being hounded by him, and Kenny's in a Spanish sandwich between the two GPX Porsches of the dynamic duo of Arjona and Castaño Muniz. Behind there, we have the Italian Stallions, Bessie and Silvestri. Beautiful cars as always. And we have Simmons, who I see has finally decided to shed the training weights that was the Rex
The
and
Rex
get into a
Gallardo.
motor vehicle.
You get into a motor vehicle. Yeah, so
Well,
yeah, this is flavors of series past. XRT is of course, sing it with me, Alberto Hona, Javier Castaño Muniz, but they've got a new teammate. Josh McLaughlin is in the same team. Oh, looks like John Barker has fallen. He got into an accident of some sort. I'd love to show you that, but the button is not letting me do it. Um,
odd because it seems to me he's the only Audi in the
Audi.
field. So it seems that ESR is very anti-Audi on Sundays. It's very odd.
Yes, on Sundays definitely. they've had varying levels of success in the Wednesday series, the 3D Speed, but in yeah, Barker here is struggling. He's back behind Reader, the twin Lamborghinis of Reader and Carnelosi. But also, so we've got the usually Audi crowd of has switched to McLarens, as we can see. Matt Higgs, Sean Kinney, Brandon Baker. They of course are a team. They're inseparable. As we see, staff to go around the inside of Arsenault on turn two. Gets a little squirrely. Arsenault might have a cutback actually. Not letting him have it. Too.
No,
Ooh,
he's getting a little
staff
loose.
gets a little loose, but saves it. That was a good save. He lives to fight another day.
It's not easy to save a mid or a rear engine car once she starts tank slapping, especially coming over some curbs. So best thing there
Mm,
was to back her down and save it because you put her into the wall, and that car being as air dependent as she is, it's that's race done for you. So you lose a few seconds, lose a few spots, but you're definitely better off than the alternative, which is probably packing up the hauler pretty early.
yeah. Um, but especially being with the weird, not well, maybe not that weird, but the frequent elevation changes at Hungaroring. It can be awkward to manage a tank slapper around these corners. So good for him. Zoltan Kalmundi under heavy assault from Javier Eugeni, who's taken up his usual position in 12th place. Um, there's a little train going with Smith, Eugeni Hemian, and Butler. Butler's the one ahead. Yes. It looks like no, they've actually not changed too much. I thought Kalmundi was catching Butler, but it doesn't appear to be. We're getting lots of camera movement. Ain't no thing.
So to follow up on some stories from last season, Xavier Eugeni, he had an incredible second half of the season. The back nine or the back half of the season for him was absolutely incredible. He went from getting his first podium to second place, and if I remember correctly, he brought home a win.
I think so. I
I'm
was it
pretty
the
sure
second
he
to last
managed.
race.
Yeah, he managed every step of the podium last season, all first timers, and
hmm
rounded out a very powerful end of the season. So as far as I'm concerned, we say his regular position of 12th because he's Mr. Consistent and he's Mr. Center Field,
Yep.
but something tells me that he's definitely got more in the tank here. I'm curious to see where he goes, and I think these four ahead of him, if he gets clean air through pit stops, I think he walks them. Maybe not
It's
easily, but I
it's
think I think
possible.
he gets through. Yeah, and once he's through here, he's got clean air all the way up to Turcotte, which isn't extremely far ahead, but there's just enough clean air for this BMW to really work its magic. It needs that aero seal. It needs that clean air to keep her grounded. So
Absolutely, and I should perhaps maybe add some more information to my earlier statement. He generally is mid pack, but when the car when there's no arguing that the BMW is a little bit disadvantaged compared to some of the more modern cars. I think, right? And is that a good thing to say?
Well, yeah, I mean
Um,
that car is at the end of its life cycle. It debuted
exactly.
in 2016 for it's a 2015 model, but I think it debuted in 2016 for
Hmm.
what was at the time the Blanc Pain series in Europe, and also I want to say it's replaced by the GT or not the G4, the M4 model. If memory serves, it's already
Hmm.
being replaced, and so we should see that transition sometime soon. Hopefully in ACC as well. I know they mentioned bringing a DLC track from the Americas and some other things at some point this year. TikTok.
Let's hope.
Um,
Fingers crossed.
we'll have to see where it goes. But as of right now, the BMW is it's capable. It's definitely shown that it's got legs in places that people wouldn't expect, but amongst more modern peers, it does tend to struggle.
And I mean, I'm just looking at his racing record. It's full of M6 where I'm just looking. Literally the only times I see Eugenie not in an M6 is when there's no M6 available. He's got an M4 GT4, M4 DTM. He likes his Beamers.
He is a
Uh,
specialist through and through. You got to respect
and
it.
a Camaro GT4. That's scandalous. Um,
He likes them
and
big.
yeah, that he does. He likes the boats. And so he's able to squeeze some good power and good pace out of that car, but it's just, I mean, for the most part, it's just not enough. And like we've seen even the likes of the famous Mike Stoffmeal, who hasn't been here for a while. He's met his match while driving. Was it the no? It wasn't the Rex because that was season two. It was
No,
the
he was in the BMW against
that was season three,
that
I
was
believe.
it was either season 3 or 4. That was the season he was against um Maxi Lentini,
Yep.
and who was in a Porsche, and his other largest rival at the time was Verstappen in
Hmm.
the Bentley.
Exactly. So yeah, like it's not that to say it can't be done. He had especially some great results in the 2016. We saw him with a 3 and a 2 and a win. Um, and he has had some good races in the RWB uh, challenges, but I don't know exactly what the rules on those are. So it's possible there is some differences or some balancing going on. But he is generally a solid driver, and that's
Solid,
definitely
he says.
admirable. Admirable.
Yeah. Well, you know, the BMW, at least on a top tier professional level, we've seen Niels, I believe is how you pronounce his name, Niels, the G2 contracted driver, which G2 is sponsored by BMW, so I imagine
Hmm.
he is contracted to only drive the BMW.
Yeah.
That being said, he still does pretty amazing things with it. So there's definitely something to get out of this car. It's a mystery to anyone not named Niels, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially with they largely abandoned it. Well, it would never existed in GTE, but even in like it hasn't seen much use outside of the lower series like the GT Daytona, for example, and IMSA, that much. However, it has been around, but we'll have to see when the M4 comes out exactly what's going on. Sean Kenny under heavy fire from Javier Castaño Munoz for the last couple of laps. It's actually, I wonder if Kenny might be having a little bit of some sort of problem because Bessie has now caught up to him as well.
And Arjona is
So
leaving him in the dust
exactly.
in turn. So interesting to see. I think if Xavier gets around him, we'll see some interesting pit strategy come out of the AXRT camp as usual.
Well, I was gonna say I think that's a given no matter what happens. The XRT loves them some pit lane shenanigans, which I can appreciate.
We'll have to
Ooh,
see.
speaking of Eugenie from a little while ago, can we get eyes on Eugenie? Because he is in a tough battle with Kalmundi, who he has closed the gap with. We cannot. Okay, that's all right. Uh, just looking at the timing, he's 6/100ths of a second behind, so it's
There's
possible he may have made
a
a move.
car accident. He's put it into the fence slightly to keep it from hitting another. And
Whoa!
Kalmundi just
Gives him a punteroni.
gives him a punteroni. Yeah.
Looks like no
Have
harm,
to
no foul. Although Kalmundi might have actually got the worst from that. His
Kalmundi
front
got some
end.
serious damage. I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
he
wow.
was. Yeah, I don't think he was intentionally turning into the Beamer. I think he had no more control of the Aston. I think that's going to be his race all but done.
Hmm.
Curious if he's going to be able to make it back into the pits. His car is limping quite viciously. Although,
We also had accidents from Butler and Barker, the names that I get confused all the time. We're going to be seeing them very soon. Edgar Ariasa now trying to navigate the stricken Lamborghini. Although it's a little, oh, there's Kalmundi too. If
yeah,
we
I'm
could get a
I'm
different camera angle, there we
curious.
go.
Looking at his in-car cam here, it definitely looks like the car's not turning well, but turning. It doesn't look like it's turning so poorly that it would have driven off on into the side of that BMW. So
We now
I'm
got,
sure that Xavier Jenny's not liking the extra Punterino, but luckily he didn't get spun or dumped.
absolutely,
The
you got Carnelossi around the inside. Oh no, gives him a spin around the inside of Ariasa. That didn't look super kosher. I would try and give it a replay, but I'm not confident in ACC's ability to manage my requests right now, so I think I'm going to cut my loss there. We got a pretty good view of that from the helicam.
Yeah,
Ooh,
he's got it going now, and
he's
he
not going
should
to be
be all
happy,
right.
but at least he didn't look like he took too much damage. The car looks pretty solid as it is. So
Yeah, the
yeah, there's
car
that.
looks like it's driving okay, and that is the most important part. Yeah, the car looks all right. There's not much scraping going on the front end. It looks like he doesn't have any major splitter damage. He should be all right to continue mostly unabated. Maybe it works out as a little bit of a blessing.
It's possible. I mean, we can see Staffed ahead, still battling with Carnelossi. Side note, shout out to Staffed for avoiding that accident. He had a really interesting line because he was trying to go on the outside at the same time as Ariasa got spun. So props for those evasive maneuvers. Good work. That's what we like to see.
What's
Half of racing is about managing problems, right?
what's the pit window? Is there a pit window?
There is a pit window, so I believe it's 10 minutes. Let me get my rule sheet up. I
Because
believe it's 10 minutes. Yeah, 10
Butler had to
minutes.
make an unscheduled stop, but
On Monday too.
Reader, Calmandy, but also Reader has a lot of damage. So I'm not sure. Was it Reader that got spun or that spun on his own and then got collected by
Yes.
Calmundi? Or I
Oh,
wonder where Butler's damage
no.
came from. Was it Butler then instead?
That I'm not entirely sure of. Butler, I was just having some problems on his own. I wonder if he might have lost it in turn 4 or somewhere around those lines.
Well, we said that the way would have to part for Mr. Eugeni here for him to get a good result, and what do you know? The
Yep, to
Red
10.
Sea is parted, and he's
Yeah.
on his way to chase down Mr. Smith. I don't see any Mr. Andersons in the field, so that's good.
Nice. Nice Matrix reference there.
Always.
Mr. Anderson. Um, but yeah, so we've got it's kind of, I mean, Eugenia's kind of been the stealth hero of the series. Whenever he finds himself mid pack a lot, but whenever he doesn't, he always comes out of nowhere, and we notice, and it's like Eugenia, oh, he's in fourth or whatever. When did that happen? So
Looks like we're
he
about to have two retirees. Sorry to cut you off
no,
there,
that's
and we
okay.
do.
That's all right.
There goes Butler, as well as the damaged Aston Martin that in British Racing Green from I don't know. I don't have the running sheet here, but the British Racing Green Aston Martin that was Calmundi
Yeah, the
looks to
Zoltan.
have yeah Zoltan looks to have retired from the race. So now that leaves Mr. Barker and Reader to bring up the rear of our field here, and well, little scrappy. Looks to be some pretty heavy damage actually on the Porsche of our Arseno. I'm curious to know
Okay.
where that went. His headlights are blinking slightly when he goes over bumps, so he's carrying a little more damage than it looks. It looks superficial, but I'm curious. I'm very
Uh,
curious.
well, he was getting really involved with Carnelosi at one point. Just on my map, I didn't get to actually see it, but so I wonder if there might have been a couple of rub and racing incidents going on.
Entirely possible.
Of note, well, never mind. It just undid itself. Albert Arjona had clawed back an entire second and a half on Matt Higgs, and Sean Kenny kind of came with him, but he kind of lost about 7/10 of a second on that last sector. So I spoke perfectly too soon. But he's
Yeah,
still a
it
little bit
looks.
closer than he used to be.
Yeah, it looks like he's pulling away from Castano ever so slightly. So I'm curious to see. It's curious to see where they're going to end up when these pit cycles rotate through. As of right now, our top 10 has been more top 8 really has been more or less locked in stone. Higgs, Arjona, Kenny, Castano, Bessie, Silvestri, Simmons, Turcotte, Smith, and now Eugenie. Cliff Hemian has been charging through the field. He had a pretty bad qualification. I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
gasped because
there's a
I just
Ferrari going on.
yeah
55 of Silvestri.
something happened to Silvestri. He pegged it into the wall, the pit wall, and now his car is moving again. It's on
He's
the
struggling.
inside. Yeah, something happened. I think he had an issue with his steering. It looked like he jerked directly into the pit wall, and that is a shame because he was running fantastic with his teammate Bessie as the Silver Surfers of the series.
Yeah, the I believe they're Rinaldi right now. Like that's what their official, because the car is
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
Rinaldi Ferrari, but I think that's what they're running as. That is not a happy Ferrari. She's not looking too great. So I wonder. Yeah, I do wonder what happens. We'll have to figure out what happened after the race proper terminates. And
And
I believe that should put Eugenie right behind him, if I'm correct.
yeah, so he got it
Yeah.
going just in time. But I think Eugenie's smelling blood in the water. I think it's only a matter of time. I'll be very surprised with how much damage. And there's a track
Arsenault,
limits warning.
drive-through penalty for Arsenault.
He has 3 laps to serve that, which is unfortunate. Drive-throughs here aren't terrible. It all
No.
depends on how well you get through the last turn, which is technically part of pit lane. So you have to commit, but you're not under a pit lane speed limiter until you get through the corner. If you can haul it pretty hard through there, you can save quite a bit of time on your drive through and your pit stop. So there's a little bit of skill involved getting into pit lane here.
Yeah, and one thing that sets the that excuse me, that sets a lot of the good drivers from the great drivers, at least in these races where there's a required pit stop, is getting that pit stop down. It's multiple kind of pieces of logic there, because if you practice that, you can grab a couple of seconds on a less experienced driver on the lineup. So before getting to speed limit before the timing marker, and then lining up your car with the gate correctly, so getting so you don't have to reset your car on the line, and then clearing it once you get past the ending of the speed limit zone. And I mean, we've seen many times in the past that someone who even gets a drive-through penalty, oh, get another drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane, or or things along those
Yep.
lines, or get after a pit stop. So that's something where I'm kind of most interested in our newer drivers, just to see how they kind of manage that, how much do they practice, if any. I know it's not something that's as glamorous, but it can make the difference. We've seen championships, or maybe not championships, but races thrown away and
Oh,
won
absolutely.
respectively by pit limit by pit penalties and stuff shenanigans. So we'll have to see how that goes.
And looking now, it appears that Castano and Kenny are spreading further apart, which is not good if they were hoping to get by him through pit lane. Though Xavier has been known to be statistically one of the best in and out lap as well. Well, just in and out lap drivers that we have at ESR. I remember going over the numbers
Hmm.
a season ago, and he and Higgs were head and shoulders above the rest in terms of their pit procedure. I remember racing with them back in season 3 or 4 it was, and let me tell you, I could go in 3 positions ahead of Xavier, and he'd still come out ahead of me, and I'd be like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Did you
Yeah,
mess up your
how?
pit stop?" I'm like, "No. What did you do?"
Exactly. It was
We'll have
pure
to see.
perfection, obviously. So
Absolutely.
the only really battle going on right now, we're kind of cycling through Staff versus Carnelosi. The newcomers are keeping it hot. They got the fire lit. That candle is burning twice as bright, definitely. But the rest is kind of mellowed out a little bit. Kenny and Castagna Munoz has clawed a little bit back from Kenny. who has commensurately lost some space to our Hone ahead. So he had a bad sector, it seems. Um, and then Turcotte to Simmons is another potential example, but even then they're 2 seconds apart. So we're gonna have to maybe park our camera and see if anything more emerges. For
Well,
now, Staft and Carnelossi is where it's at.
well, I can tell you from experience, driving this here Porsche, that we're getting to more or less the Porsche's witching hour. Depending on how much, fuel is in the car, either the car comes alive or the car completely, um, well, blanks the bed.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
basically,
Does the
um,
opposite of that.
precisely. So when you get down to about 20 liters in the tank, which I'm gonna wager he's probably somewhere around there if he wanted to have enough to go to the end of the pit window. Um, he's going to be in a position now where he's going to be able to put down best lap after best lap after best lap, especially if he nursed the tires in the earlier portions of the race. Because if you grain up these tires on the front of the Porsche, it gets bad. The rears don't matter
Mm.
as much. There's enough weight back there to hold her steady, and wear that grain right off. But the front tires, if you don't grain them up, they'll sing to you in the last few laps of a stint. So hopefully he managed to do that. He is a Porsche expert, so I expect nothing less of him. And we should see this gap closing in the first and last sectors
Yeah, well,
as the race goes on.
we're kind of seeing the difference between the McLaren and the Porsche. Maybe what you said just now is coming into effect because Kenny continues to fall. He lost another, I believe, 6/10 of a second to our Hone ahead, and that went almost straight to Castagna behind.
And the same
Now
with Arjona to Higgs.
exactly. So I mean we've seen that Arjona and Muniz Team AXRT has been just the Porsche experts. They've got it down to a science. They know when it's deadliest and when it's appropriate to nurse it a little bit. So I think what you said is coming into full effect. They're clawing up some ground.
Oh yeah, and I think we're gonna see it going through these switchbacks here. If this Porsche is set up to pivot, you're gonna see the front end get real light here. You're gonna notice it too. You get about one more lap out of them before you start seeing them make decisions on diving into pits. But if you
Absolutely.
but going this Silvestri, his patented drive through for track limits,
That's a
um,
good point. I forgot about that.
absolutely patented.
Patent.
Uh,
Registered
you'll
trademark.
notice it on the front end of this Porsche because now it's a bit lighter. Going into those hairpins, he'll get about halfway through the hairpin, and normally where in a front engine car, the rear end either wants to rotate around because of the weight transfer. The rear end gets light. You have lower TC, so you can get a little bit more brake in the rear tires to get it to rotate. This Porsche, you can notice it even in this corner here, going into turn 2 or 3. There's a certain point where all of a sudden the weight settles and that front end just pivots for you on a dime, and that's where these cars get dangerous because that's where all of a sudden you get that unexpected pivot. If you're not someone used to it, it over pivots on you, and you end
Yeah.
up going shooting off into the inside wall. So there's definitely opportunity for time to be made up. It looks like he's faltering a little bit now, and I'm wondering if he's just having a little bit of trouble adjusting to the way that the car is settled here. Could be some
It's
minor graining, could be that the car setup is not really agreeing with this level of fuel, but I imagine they would have had it set for that as well.
yeah. So a little bit side note, as you're talking, we had just the most excellent. I guess to if I was in a Bill and Ted movie, I would say that. But an excellent exchange between Spencer Taft and Alan Carnelosi. That they were side by side for a good 2/3 of the track there that last lap, and I mean I was impressed that they were able to hold it so long. So tip of the hat to those guys. Excellent race or excellent racing, yeah. The pit window is open, so 10 minutes, centered on the middle, obviously. We have our first three takers: Ayrton Arsenault, John Barker, and Jeremy Reeder are in. Kind of traditional. We'll have to see where Max Simmons goes, and Castaño Muniz, a little bit uncharacteristic, has dove in on the in this first available opportunity. So that's kind of a new thing for him. I don't think we see that very often, unless I'm mistaken.
Well, given how much time he lost near the end of that, the last two laps, rather than gaining like Arjona, I think he's having some issues with his front tires graining up on him early in the race. It's
We
been
got a little
really cool
spooked.
here. Well, it's been really cool, and when the track is
Hmm.
really cool, it's hard to get the right temperatures in the front tires, and especially in the Porsche. And a lot of times, what you'll see with that is you will have some serious graining issues in the 911. Oddly enough, the 911 kind of likes hot weather. Who knew?
Yeah, fascinating. Who would have thought, right?
Yeah, it's all about keeping the right temperatures in the front tires so that you don't lose them too soon. Um,
A- Absolutely. So with that, our battle between Spencer Taft and Carnelossi dissolves as Taft goes into the pits. Stop
and
and go penalty of 30
Castano,
seconds for Nunez. Oh,
and
we've seen
there
that
is
happen
his race.
before. That
Yep.
is essentially it. Yeah, that's gonna be a devastating blow.
Eh,
That's the one thing about running the fine line of having your pit stops so finely tuned is that if you're just a fraction over, fraction under, it can be devastating.
Yeah, you can see the frustration now. He's sliding. That's gonna tires aren't up to optimal pressures yet or optimal core temps. So any bit of sliding that you do on an out lap is no bueno. It's not
Hmm.
good. So we'll have to see. I think he's real frustrated because he knows that a season against Higgs and Kenny is a season where you can't afford to make a mistake, especially with how dominant Higgs can be when given the space.
Absolutely, yeah. Brett Baker is also in that team, and he hasn't been here today, as you can see. But we've seen in the past that it's a very formidable set of opponents. I'm kind of surprised I don't see McLaughlin anywhere because he was in how do I phrase this in an RP sort of way? He was
He's in the paddock earlier.
I saw him in the paddock, yeah, walking around. He was talking to fans, and he wasn't. He's not here. I wonder if he might have had some car issues or something. I mean, eh, he's a silver driver versus the Castano and Arjona platinum combo, but anyone is free points basically if you got an extra person. So,
Bessie's in fourth right now, so
Bessie
anything can
up to
happen.
fourth. Exactly. Max Simmons clawed his way up to fifth after a brief but intense battle with Dominic Turcotte. Um, and so we'll just have to kind of wait and see as this pit window sorts itself out.
Yeah, we got about 6 minutes left in this pit window, so we're looking at a maximum of about 3 laps left on these cars. Mostly for the front of the field here, you could stretch it to 3 laps, but you'd be pulling a tight one. Um,
I expect Max
the
Simmons to do that.
Yeah, Max Simmons is probably going to go, and Higgs is diving into the pits now. He's giving it over to Arjona. He says, "All right, Arjona, you got 2 seconds for me? I don't think so. I'm heading in." But it could be that he took a conservative pit stop entry. I mean, to
Hmm.
avoid any type of problem. So we'll have to see. I'm still doing my rain dance. I still believe in me.
I'm looking at that forecast.
If it starts raining heavily right now, Arjona is in position to win the race, but it has to do it now. Right
Now.
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 Well, I don't know. I think maybe your rain dance is a little rusty.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I did the
Oh
rain
no, nah,
dance.
no, no. We're getting content claimed. We would get content claimed if your singing was any better.
I was gonna say you think I'm that good of a singer? I'm impressed. I'm
Oh
flattered, I should
man,
say. Yeah. Oh man.
we don't
How? Now
need.
now my
We don't.
feelings are
Nah,
hurt.
I don't. I'd prefer if you don't stain our reputation.
In what way?
The
That's the real
pun.
question. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, our reputation's already for bad puns, so I mean, I'm continuing a strong and proud tradition.
So let's see. I'm curious as to see where Higgs comes out. He's coming out of pit lane now, and he served it. He managed to get his pit done without any issues, no stop and goes, no problemos. Bessie, I believe, is on his way out as well. Bessie's going to come out in about sixth here, so not too much of
Yeah.
a truffle
Didn't
shuffle
didn't lose
happening.
too much.
No,
What'll be interesting is I'm trying to watch this battle. Um, Spencer Taft is hot on the tail of Javier Castaño Muniz, and this is for position. Oh, but just got to drive through for for track cutting penalties.
I saw
Well,
that coming.
that
Ooh,
was pretty bold, that last move he made on the second or that last turn. So, never mind.
got away from him.
Commentator's
Just
curse.
got away from him. That's a shame.
Well, I mean, he might be someone to watch. He is not in a team, so he's a solo entrant and going to serve that penalty right away. A good choice. But we'll have to see because he's proven to be, at least in this race, pretty formidable if he can get his luck in order, and
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
maybe
the,
control that tail end a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, this track is known for drive-throughs. We always have a lot of drive-throughs coming out of, what is it, turn 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna say 4. Yeah, turn 4 at the top of the hill
Hmm.
there can get pretty gnarly. Um, you can definitely run wide there, and it's not forgiving. The same is true if you cut a little bit too much of the curb. It can get pretty gnarly as far as track cuts go. The corner that he went wide on is another one that's pretty unforgiving. The chicane is usually pretty forgiving, but you get greedy, and next thing you know, you're serving a penalty. So I think this will probably be the most track cuts we see in a season. I don't expect any other track to be quite as bad. Maybe Spa, maybe, but
Uh,
I don't know if we're going to Spa this season. I don't remember.
we
I already
we
failed my
are.
quiz.
We are. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Justin.
Races 1,
What?
3, 5, and 8 are normal. Races
You missed 6.
4 is the double race, and races 2, 7, 9, and 10. I don't know. I'm close.
You're really close. You missed race 6 on the sprint. So race
Damn.
6 at Imola is also a sprint. And then I like the effort put in though. That was great.
I've got my Rolodex or whatever over here, so I can keep track of my dates.
I just imagine you putting all this information on a Rolodex and flipping around. Um,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, I mean you're pretty close. There is a race of spots, race 8. That is a regular sprint, so it'll be
Okay.
just 60-minute. I don't think there'll be that much cutting. Spa is one of those where yeah, people can get bold, especially around the likes of Pouen and that kind of thing.
I was
But
thinking Pouen and Blanchimont,
yeah,
as my buddy.
Blanchemont's a popular one. The bus stop can sometimes be a little dicey.
Yeah, as my buddy would say, my buddy Mo from Georgia would say, Blanchimont.
Blanchimont.
Blanchimont. You're gonna get a little rough around Blanchimont.
Well, it's your friend, so you can say that, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I've been racing with him for better part of 10 years. He's a BMW specialist over on iRacing.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
absolutely.
I've,
He is
he's an
a jack
M8.
of all trades.
Do they have the M8 there, I think? GTE?
Yeah, I think so. Pretty sure. It's a boat. Whatever it is, it's a massive.
Well,
It's big
that's safe to
enough.
say. Yeah, that's safe to say.
I think
No
they have
matter what it
I
is,
think they
it's.
have the smaller one now. The M4 or whatever with the pig nose. They got the pig snout
Oh
one
yeah.
now. Yeah.
Well, if it's not gonna be giant, it's got to be ugly, I guess. That's a hot take, but I feel like it's not a controversial one. Okay, so we've got our Hona in mixed in with Higgs here. So the final order, Higgs had a terrible pit stop, it
Yeah,
seems,
I think he was a little too conservative. And
and Eugenie's on 4th. So
look at
as
that.
I kind of said earlier, he just
Oh, fifth. He
evaporates
gets
and
overtaken
reappears.
coming out of pit lane.
That's fine. I mean, we kind of expected that. It's his out lap 2.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he kind of just did a little Houdini and disappeared from what was it, 8th? Oh well, he's kind of still falling.
As he's
Um,
passing through the timing, he's getting shunted a bit here.
but I mean, still he's been doing some good stuff. But we see Higgs hot on the tail of Arjona. So this is kind of Arjona's game. He's got with Castaño falling all the way to 10th after that drive through. He's kind of got to shoulder this a little bit. I almost wonder if he might try and hold up Higgs and Kenny and get them involved with maybe even Bessie or each other or something. Because as we kind of said
Ooh,
earlier, if Higgs gets involved with basically anyone else, it kind of becomes I won't say a coin toss, but it becomes a little bit more of a battle. Like it starts
my
heating up.
my question here is, where is Xavier Eugenie on the track? That is the biggest question. Sorry, not Eugenie, Castano.
I
Wrong
was gonna
Xavier.
say, yeah,
We
yeah.
need to know where Castano is on the track at all times, because these guys are teammates through and through. They've got a private radio channel 9 times out of 10. And
Yep.
right now they're barking. They're in focus mode, but they're barking between each other and making sure they're setting up something here if need be. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to keep an eye on where Castaño Muniz is. Which actually, where is
He's
he?
doing battle with Cliff Hemian right now, going into the final sector. So they're making the hard 90-degree right-handed right now.
Yeah, I see that on my map here.
Ooh, a little bobble from Higgs. Gotten pretty unsteady out of turn 4, I believe that is.
Now I'm curious if Higgs is going to be pushing a little hard here and put himself in a position to go wide just enough a few times to give him a drive through, which would open the door wide open for what we all know will be the primary rival of the Series AXRT as far as teams go. Those are the two juggernauts. These are our, you know, Sugar Ray and I don't do the boxing.
Oh, no, me
Sugar
either.
Ray
No, me either.
Leonard and whoever
If
else. Mike
if Mike,
Tyson and
nope, nope.
exactly.
If Mike Magus was watching this, he would have our necks,
I'm sure.
and
They're
probably Byron too.
oh, I'm sure. Yeah, and I can't even say I'm more of an MMA guy because I'm so dusty. The last time I watched MMA, like seriously, it was Pride. Like, I was watching Pride back in the day, and I
Wow,
can't, you know. So it's a
that's a
long.
word I haven't heard in a while.
Oh, I love Pride. They beat the hell out of each other. Now number 19 is
19
off
is Spun.
track.
That's Reader. Jeremy Reader spun. He's not not exactly in contention, so I think he's just kind of sitting gathering his thoughts right now.
I'm
We'll see how
wondering
that
if he's
goes.
gonna park it or get it rolling. He's got plenty of
He's
time.
rolling.
He's rolling. All right, there he
Yeah, he's
goes.
going.
All right, he's got it right.
But the battle between Higgs and Arjona is heated up. We're now approaching the boiling point, mayhaps. For you freedom loving Americans, that's 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and for the rest of you, it's something.
100
I'm just
degrees
kidding. It's
Celsius.
100 degrees Celsius. I'm just slinging. I'm just
And
slinging
I'm the
shade.
American here.
Ooh, here we go.
Now, Higgs is having to look up the inside. Arjona's going to defend. Higgs is looking left, looking right.
He's ducking and diving and dodging and dodging.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
messed up that quote.
He's
Duck,
giving him a
dip,
Dr.
dive, and
Seuss
dodge.
novel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
Can I pass
I'm
you with a box? Would you like me with a fox?
exactly. I'm not gonna comment on that one, but looks like it's gonna be intense. I wonder. So they speaking of which, where is Castano? Looks like the 30 of who is that?
Barrett Barker.
Barker. Yeah, Barker is spun. Okay, that's an unfortunate occurrence. But the 22 of Castano is just well, they're quite a ways. These are quite a ways out. They're almost an entire sector. They're over an entire sector apart.
Yeah, looks like it
So
might be a non-factor. 20 minutes to go here. I don't see a normal driver being able to handle this kind of pressure. Arjona's a veteran, but 20 minutes is a tall ask. I've been in similar situations. 20 minutes is too much,
it's a
usually.
long time.
It's a long time. 5
But
minutes
he's
easy.
not a
10
stranger to the
hard.
situation. He's not a stranger to the situation though.
Usually
And
he's on the attack.
yeah, oh, that's true. That is true, but also Higgs is one to get a little over bold when he's in these potential situations. Now he is able to make it work a long time, but I find at least in what I've seen that if he goes for too long, there is almost an even odds that he ends up making a mistake himself. We'll have to see. Only time will tell.
I think that's Arjona's real hope here is that Higgs pressures himself into a mistake. Because I honestly think that Arjona here is. I don't see him making a mistake. From Higgs's pressure alone, I see this either ending with them spinning each other out, or Higgs, like you said, Higgs spinning himself out. I I don't see a world where Higgs gets by Arjona cleanly, and that's not a knock on his skill. I think we're going to see some real Hamilton and Verstappen levels of,
Yep.
you know, hand gestures and chin strikes.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
We could get some mini radio commentary in here. Just put, get
absolutely.
Sebastian Vettel, blue flag, blue flag. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's not easy to. Well, we saw around whatever turn that was, the right hander. I believe that's turn 11. I don't quite remember. But Higgs got pretty wide and got a little squirrely. He, of course, corralled it, but he did lose a little bit of time. He's now up to almost a second. So the cracks, I won't say the cracks are forming, but it's not so cut and dry as Higgs is just going to blow by him. He was maybe a little bit faster in kind of uh, an empirical measure, but with this, especially this track and the awkward angles, and then Arjona being a pretty adept defender, we're gonna have to see how he's able to try and make a move happen.
Arjona hits the inside of that curb and has to go wide there.
Hmm.
Hopefully that didn't ruin his run into the chicane here.
Ooh,
Very
Higgs had to put
nearly.
on the brakes there.
Yeah, Higgs is probably going to be flashing his lights after that one, but Arjona got back on the track with enough space. It should be all clear as far as the maneuver, but doesn't mean he's making any friends. This is sending me back to Mazda 2008. Do you remember that race? I remember that race. I watched it live.
With the Corvette and the Porsche, the
Absolutely.
GT2s. Yep.
Absolutely. And Higgs
Hopefully
runs a
it
little
doesn't end the
wide
same
there.
way. Fingers crossed.
I kind of see it going that way, to
You
be
think?
honest with you. I
For
could
those who aren't
definitely...
familiar, it ended up in a dramatic crash as they tried to pass. Was that Dempsey? I forget. I think it was
It
Milner and
was...
Dempsey.
No, it was, no, the Corvette driver was Magnussen's father.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I believe it was Magnussen's father behind the wheel of the Corvette. And I can't believe I don't remember who was at the wheel of the Porsche. It was also another very famous Porsche driver.
Well,
Higgs is having a look.
It's both unfortunate and fortunate. We've got our pick of exciting battles going on. It's Carnelossi versus Silvestri for 12th. Of course, Arjona versus Higgs for first. The lead. We got Smith versus Eugenie for 7th. It's all over the place. We could kind of watch any number of battles. I know that the second I switch off of this title battle, something's gonna happen, and I'm gonna really regret it. So
You
we're gonna watch
can't. You
this for
just
a while.
gotta grit your teeth and know that it's where it
Oh,
goes.
as you predicted, flashy lights from Higgs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gonna try and give him a little bit of the razzle dazzle. There wasn't an incident like Arjona didn't do anything untoward, so
No,
I
I
think
think
he's
he's
just
just
trying to
trying
spook him.
to... He's
He's gonna
trying
give
to
him
rattle his cage.
he's gonna give him a little spookage. Like it's Halloween
Yeah,
coming up.
absolutely. Spooky, scary skeletons. So, to go along with that 2008 anecdote, another thing that had happened was at one point in time, the Corvette had passed coming out of the Andretti hairpin fully on the sand, and then rejoined. He passed him on the outside of the hairpin. It was ridiculous. So they race control
Yep.
with 3 to go. Race control tells him to give the spot back. He gives the spot back begrudgingly, immediately tries to go back onto the attack to the point where coming in the very final corner, he rear ends the Porsche. The Porsche parked it, don't get me wrong, but he rear ends the Porsche intentionally to spin the Porsche or nudge the Porsche so he can get by. The Porsche gets loose, gets it going, and they run down to the start finish line, and the Porsche driver decides, "No, I'm not gonna let you pass me like that."
I'm gonna
Runs
give
him
it
off
back. Yep.
and gives it right back to him, but he doors him off into the inside wall. They crashed spectacularly, and crazily enough, the investigation by IMSA determined that both drivers were driving like clowns, and neither driver faced any points penalty or any next. They were on probation, and that was it.
Yep.
They said, "You guys slugged it out with each other. Great for the ratings. Your problem. Don't."
Well, you're good.
I was just saying, it's their problem. You raced each other like clowns, and you got what clowns get.
Yep. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Absolutely.
Although like that is one of the to date that's one of the most viewed videos that keeps popping up in my recommended. I believe it has over 20 million views at this point.
Probably
But
one of the most viewed IMSA clips of all time. It
I
has to
believe
be.
it. I believe it. I mean, I'm always of the notion that GT2 is some of the best GT racing that we ever seen. That even includes like the 90s GT1 and the late 2000s GT1.
Which was great too.
Which was also great. Yeah, the Maytech 4 GTO is one of my favorite cars of all time. In any case, yeah, we'll have to see how they come together. There, Arjona and Higgs, that is. They're both coming up on a Lamborghini. I believe that is Carnelossi, or the could be Reader as well. I'm looking on my map trying to
That's
find them.
Reader.
That's
That's
Reader.
Reader.
Okay.
I can confirm.
So they're on the last
And he gets
corner,
out of
so
the
he just
way.
gets out of the way. Good, smart choice.
Very nice. And Higgs is going to steal a bit of draft off of him.
Getting every last little bit. I wonder if that's going to be helpful enough, considering he was already had the draft of Arjona, but whatever. He could easily
Who
know something that
knows?
I don't.
Who knows? Maybe there is something that he knows that we don't. It all depends. To be honest with you, given that he's in the amateur class, he very well could be running more downforce, which would cut more of the air and give him more of a draft.
It's definitely possible.
Because I would
Side note,
imagine Arjona's running at trim. Go ahead.
Side note of the battle for 11th, Silvestri versus Carnelossi. Carnelossi has fallen from 11th to see the position to, well, not only Silvestri but also Bino. So the Ferrari team there is going to be pretty elated. Anyway, yes. So I mean, it's possible. I don't know, and I have to wonder aloud. But I guess we'll never really know. It doesn't look like he's gained any time, but there's so many variables that you can't say if anything will cause necessarily time gained or lost to begin with. I am kind of surprised. Well, maybe I shouldn't say surprised, but that right-hander, ooh, Matt Higgs goes way wide for the God, turn 9 or something. I forget. I
Put
don't.
one in the sin bin for track limits.
Yeah,
And the closer he gets to that, the slower he's going to be racing overall because he's going to be fearful of getting that last cut.
Well, he's gotten pretty bold on that turn basically every time we've seen him. So we don't get to see how many warnings he's got, but I would be shocked if he doesn't have at least 2. Well, wait, no, it's 3. 3 is your penalty, right?
The third, I think you get 3 warnings, and the 4th one you're out.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure
Okay.
3 warnings, and the 4th one is you're done. So
I'd be surprised if he doesn't have at least 2 warnings.
Yeah,
Because
and all it
he's
takes is
gotten really wide.
precisely. And coming out of the turn 3 kink, so after this hairpin that we're in here, if you go even a millimeter too wide, you're getting on exit here. You end up getting a warning as well. So he could have one in the bag from here, and we wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see where he goes and if he backs off at all. Especially through this section, coming over the crest is another one you can bag a warning. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No. It wasn't. It wasn't really of much significance. I was just gonna say, we'll have to see, because I mean, he did lose a smidgen of time through that first sector, but not much. So he's only up to a second, and that's still getting a little bit wide on the exit. Get a dip in a tire or two. So it's possible. This is. Oh wait, is that the turn? No, it's not.
The right-hander coming up here.
Yeah, here we go. So we'll have to see. Oh, getting really bold again. So maybe he hasn't. Maybe he hasn't gotten his 3rd warning yet. That was the same corner that Silvestri got pinged for a drive-through. So
and then
one thing I think that I'm gonna say some maybe a little controversial here, but screw it. One thing I think Forza does better than anyone else is track penalties. I think that their system they got is pretty robust, and if there's an assist you can turn on to show you exactly, everyone knows where the track limits are, but but the track limits can vary depending on what turn and what track, and they have a setting you can turn on which basically puts like like an electric fence, like just like a virtual line. It's like, hey, here's where we're gonna start actually penalizing you for stuff.
did
And
they add that to Forza 7?
yeah, that was about a year ago. I think they added that.
Jeez, ex Forza Pro here, by the way, and that's how
Oh,
long
really?
it's been. So, oh, absolutely, I was top 50 in the world at that game.
Really? Okay.
Oh yeah,
Wow, I didn't know I was
oh
in the
yeah,
presence of royalty this whole time. Why didn't you
absolutely. Hey,
tell
I've
me?
rubbed shoulders with a lot of the names that got signed. So maybe I should have stayed on the Xbox. I did, I
Well,
did.
that's interesting. How did I not know that even up until now?
Always got some things. I know a lot of people that were really talented at that. One of which got sponsored by Microsoft. Now Higgs goes over that that curbing in the chicane there, and he tank slaps coming down off of it. So he's not really losing time, but it doesn't look clean. It looks like he's pushing for time, in my opinion. And my motto is don't drive faster, drive better. And we see as it crosses the next timing sector, he lost almost 2 full tenths. So I guess my eyes were right.
Well, he's going back and forth. So at least the last couple laps, he's found himself at about a second at this point, and then he goes back up to 7 or 6 tenths in the next sector, and then back in. So we'll have to see. I'm kind of curious because at least in my experience, I know Matt Higgs likes to use Coach Dave's setups.
Yep.
But at least in my experience, I've had a hell of a time in past 3D Speed Series actually trying to tune the McLaren properly, and it seems like most of the time, no matter what I do, it likes to have a smidge of the understeer. And so getting to down to the wire a little bit, I wonder if that's kind of coming back in, if he's worn the front tires a little bit and it's starting to maybe take effect more. I think I forget how, and this is an ACC rule. I forget. Does ACC require, if you require a pit stop, do you have to change all 4 tires, or does it let you change only 2?
You have to change all 4.
Okay.
The
Okay.
set.
So
Yeah.
there's no doubt that whatever's wearing it would be just emblematic of the car itself.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
have to see exactly how that goes. No, Matt Higgs down another 3/10. So he's either hit that third penalty, hit that third warning, and is now getting kind of cautious, or he's getting a little wear on his car, his tires.
Looks like he's
We'll have to
closed the
see.
gap up a bit through the chicane. I'm gonna wager a guess that he's, well, no, looks like he lost it coming out. I'm gonna wager a guess he's pulled back half a tenth at least. That's
Oh
very
no!
wide.
Ooh, that was wide and a half right there.
Yeah, that's very wide.
So I clearly just don't understand the track limits of Hungaroring as well as I thought I did,
No, and he
because
crossed the sector back there to hit the third sector, and identical split as the sector beforehand.
maybe Matt Higgs is
Twelve
running out of
five
steam a little bit.
6.
Yeah, he
Could be.
lost a single thousandth.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
He seems to be hurting getting onto the front stretch. And I say that, and it's 12.47.
So you got
You couldn't.
9 thousandths back.
Yeah, you can't really do anything between the two of them. These drivers are running the exact same lap times. Oh, Higgs is plowing through turn 1. I think you might be onto something here. Trying to
Think
watch
maybe
his hands here and see if I can notice that if he's getting a little bit more choked up on the wheel. And it looks like he is getting a little more choked on the wheel. Like it looks like he's having to really muscle that wheel to turn the car a little more. So I'm
hmm,
wondering if he overdrove it. And now, yeah, he's down a tenth.
I wonder. You see, these. I mean, these cars really, at least in their stock form. I've never tuned the Porsche or anything, and like I said, I've had. Ooh, wow, that was very wide.
A lot of
Um.
slidey too going into the next corner.
Hmm. Uh. What I would what I would say is that I would at least assume, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that the Porsche and the McLaren drive much oppositely from each other. That is, as the race kind of evolves and they kind of wear a little bit. The Porsche likes to get a little unpredicty, oversteery, and the McLaren likes to start to push. Just kind of indicative of its positioning. Would that be a correct kind of analysis?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, the problem with the Porsche is it all boils down to the way the car is set up for weight transfer and weight balance. The finer you cut it when the car has fuel in the front of it in the tank, the worse overall it can perform when it's down some fuel. You kind of got
Mm.
to account for that. Now Higgs is having a different problem. I don't know if you caught that on the cam, but he lost a bunch of time going into that
Three
last
tenths.
hairpin.
Woof.
Yeah, he drifto maximoed it, through the corner. He's having some
Little
rear
Tommy
grip.
Mackin in here. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what he's having is he's turning the wheel more than usual because he doesn't have he's understeering on entry, but because he has to really get up on that wheel and turn the car extra hard, when he finally does hit the center of the corner, all that wheel input and weight shifting is causing the weight to rock onto that back wheel, and the car wants to rotate over on him.
Mm.
So he's just hemorrhaging time. Now he's almost up to a 2-second gap. This is down to not, I won't say proper tire management because that would seem pretty odd in a 25-minute time span to see it this severe. I think he's having an issue with either pressures or graining.
It's
I
definitely
think he
possible.
grained him.
Well,
I
we just saw our Hona go dip 2 tires off onto some dirt, and that slowed him down. But even then, I still think Higgs lost time in that sector. We're gonna see this is the turn where he goes wide,
Yeah,
and
he's
he still went pretty wide.
struggling.
And yeah, he ended up at the same. So I think
Right
I
here, it's
got.
gonna push.
Oh yeah, wow.
Watch him
You can
coming
just
out
see
of the
it
last
dive.
one. Absolutely. And watch him coming out of the last hairpin here. The first hairpin's not too bad because the groove of the track gives you a little bit more traction center on. But
Mm.
coming out of this corner, he's gonna be real sideways center off if he's not careful. There he goes, counter
Oh
steering. You can
yeah, a
see him
little bit.
working the wheel.
Ooh, yeah.
And that's gonna be a problem corner for him, especially because that's where there you go, another
Four
4 tenths.
tenths. Woof.
Yeah.
All right,
He's
so
not gonna have it. I don't think he needs
see,
a
Arjona,
miracle. And
although Arjona is coming up on, I believe that's Reader and Biino, the 16 and the 29. So that's Carnelos. What? No, that's not a
no,
Lamborghini.
that's not
Oh no,
Reader. That's a different
that's sorry.
Lamborghini.
That's Carnelosi. Yeah, that's
That's Carnelossi.
Carnelosi
Yeah.
and Biino. So we're gonna have to see how he navigates this, because that could afford Higgs the
Ooh.
ability to get some time back, mayhaps.
Higgs is all over the place
Oh, I
right now.
see. In the
He's probably
background,
gonna
yeah.
lose another few tenths. No, he gained 4 tenths. That has to be a traffic issue with Arjona. Arjona's got the blue flags going for him, and these drivers
Our
aren't.
Yeah, Arjona is like not able to get past Carnelosi. You can tell he's giving him all the time. He's gonna he's getting a little bit hot under the collar. He's like, come on, you guys, get out of the way. I haven't seen a
Yeah,
flash of the
and
headlights, but I
I
have no
think we're
doubt that
gonna
he
see
wants
Higgs
to.
within a second here.
We're not even close to the final stretch yet. Oh, yeah, many flashes. Oh, he almost barged Carnelosi out of the way. I
Let's
can I
see
can I can sympathize.
if Carnelossi does the same to Higgs here. Higgs is back to within a second now.
Oh, yep, Arjona is seated. I don't know if Bino
Oh,
just
now they're
decided to give it to him. Oh, now they're too wide. Uh-oh. That was ooh, wow,
oh, and he hits the blue flagger.
okay, so wow, yeah, Higgs definitely got the better of that deal. I mean, he did struggle a little bit with traffic, but Arjona got the way worse end, I think.
Yeah,
But it's 1.4
and even that
seconds,
last
so
corner, he just can't
yeah.
get through it. So we'll have to see what happens. This is the last lap. White flags are out. We will not get another time by.
I'm not seeing those white flags, but I'll trust your judgment on that. Fun fact, I just realized this. That was a battle for position. So Carnelosi versus Bino is that's a battle that's happening. So
Oh,
that
no
was a
wonder
really
why.
interesting exchange. I was like, yeah, I can't believe I didn't notice that earlier.
Well, what an interesting way for them to end their race. You've got races within races here, and that's a very common factor in sports car racing. Everybody has to kind of ride with each other. Ooh, Higgs is getting a little dicey now. I think
Mm,
he's going to close this down to about 3/4 of a second going into this hairpin, or this chicane, excuse me.
right before he got a little dicey, he gave Arjona the headlight flash again. So I wonder if he's getting maybe a little desperate. Although it looks like he clawed back some time in that chicane.
Yeah, we're going to see him within 3/4 here for
See,
sure.
it's easy to say that it'd be hard to notice, or it'd be easy to say that he should notice this, but if Arjona's paying attention, he'll see that Higgs is by far the weakest point for him in his car right now is the final corner. And
Half a
so
second.
I wouldn't be surprised if he would if he's like coasting a little bit, just kind of knowing that he can nail it on the final corner and just, pull away essentially. Although now he's got some
Yeah,
traffic too. Well, he's not that close. There's the
and
Audi of
Barker's
Barker.
experienced. Yeah, Barker's
Yeah.
not going to hold them up here. I don't
Final
think.
corner.
Yeah, I don't think Higgs is going to be able to get it going here out
Ooh,
of this
getting,
corner. There's
yep,
no grip.
nope. A valiant effort from Matt Higgs, but sadly there's no beating it. That'll be Albert Rahona first place, and Carnelosi winning back, making best of that position, getting crawling past Biino with the drama of Higgs and Arjona behind him. Let's see, let's get the camera going. Sean Kenny in third,
Smith and Eugenie
Marbesi,
here are for position, half a second between them.
yeah. Looks
Tight
like
one.
Simmons and Turcotte are going to finish as they sit. Good for Simmons, picking up 2 spots. Eugenie picking up 4 if he finishes like this. Otherwise, it'll be 3. Or actually 5 or 4, because he was in 12th, wasn't he? I feel like I made a comment on that.
I do not recall his starting position, but I know that he ran in 12th for a large portion of the race.
Yep, so 7th for Eugenie. A good, reliable position.
Good recovery from Castano to
Mm-hmm.
bring it down. Silvestri and Hemian are still on top of each other. They still have the switchbacks up the hill to go, and they're within half a second as well. I would imagine that the Fiat, excuse me, the words are coming out me.
Ooh.
The Ferrari has the advantage coming out of these corners. One more
Justin,
chance to make it stick.
does anyone know where you live? Because I might change your name after making that mistake. Fake your own death, maybe. The Ferrari guys will be all over you.
Hey, I mean,
It's not the Fiat, it's the Ferrari.
oh no, not the Ferrari.
Okay, good
Oh.
job, Cliff. Silvestri might have had a look, although he or Cliff could have just known that he got it in the bag, so let off. John Barker with a very worse for wear looking Audi. That car's had a day, it seems. Although
Yeah,
actually, with the kind of black bar exposed and the bumper hanging off, I think it looks better. It's got a little more accent.
a little
Audi,
more mean.
maybe take some notes. So yeah, a little more aggressive. So
Ah,
Barker across the line, and
we've
Staft
got
is
some
in. Where is Staft? Oh,
we've
he's
got
driving
some
still.
banter here. Higgs says that because of Castano leaving his box, Higgs wasn't able to see his his pit carrot, and so because of that, he was afraid of missing his box.
Uh-oh. Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles, I suppose.
So there was
Um,
some shenanigans. There's always shenanigans with those two. It's they
there's no
they
way they
try
could
to.
have planned that, though.
I don't know. I
You
don't
think?
know. They're sneaky. They're
Sneaky.
sneaky. Lest you not forget, Arjona intentionally, allegedly, under my scrutineering, deemed intentionally, knocked over the pit entry speed limit board so that they didn't know, so that other teams didn't know which committal line was the 50K line, because there was two next to each other, and they knocked over the board so no one could tell which was which. These guys are sneaky. I like it. I like it. It's
Yeah,
fighting
I
spirit. As
ditto,
long as they
ditto.
take their licks when they get caught and they, bad, I can appreciate the gamesmanship. So we'll see what happens. I think that was innocuous and innocent, obviously, this
Yeah.
here, Arjona leaving his pit box. But, a little bit of fortune here. I thought Higgs had that one in the bag going into the pit cycle. He had a decent lead and he was running fine, but coming out, I think he just overcooked the tires and he
Yeah.
never got him up to pressure before he pushed a little bit too hard, probably a little frustrated from the pit box issue. And, that's why you don't, what is it? You double step, you double set, whatever it's called in F1.
Oh, I don't. A double stack maybe.
You double stack. You don't double stack pit boxes, man.
Yeah. Well, I unfortunately I don't think they get to choose in this sim Assetto Corsa. But yeah, props to Higgs for giving a good run back up. He got back up to second. I mean, he didn't have a whole lot of, he was still in first, so he didn't have a whole lot to gain back. But still, good job. Everyone kept it very clean. We didn't have any real accidents. I mean, at the start we had what Reader and Staff come together, or Barker, and
Yeah, someone
someone
hit the
struggled a little
inside
bit.
wall at the top of 4, but they kept it pushing, they kept it moving, and overall, very nice race. Very nice.
Yeah, that was
Um,
very good. Shout out or props to the our newcomers, Reader Staffed or Taft actually. That's gonna confuse me all season. I know it. Ariasa, Arseno, Carnelosi, the like. Good on you guys for having a really clean race. I kind of predicted that at the beginning. One thing I do want to sling a little shade. It was I didn't notice a single raindrop that entire race, Justin.
once I saw the Porsches leading, I had to stop the rain dance.
Okay.
You know,
A little bit
it's
of
like
yeah,
it's
little
like
bit
that.
of nepotism going on.
Oh, what do you nepotism? Ex
Yeah,
teammate?
yeah, exactly.
I can't use my caster curse for evil, can I?
Yeah. I mean, you can do anything. You're immune. What are they gonna do? They can't take you out. You're not in the race.
True,
Dude,
I do get to live a life of luxury from the
exactly.
grandstands now.
Exactly, and we just got a what's it called? A breaking news flash. Josh McLaughlin, what did have car problems. His steering was toasted itself. So that's going to be how that is. Bummer for them. They really could use the extra points, but obviously, some races are just not going to have as good luck as others. Really quick rundown of the final standings: Albert Ahona, Matt Higgs, Sean Kenny in your top 3, and that's all we get to see before everything changes. Okay, there we
Congrats.
go. You got a little bit of it at least. But yes, so next race is going to be Kyalami. That is going to be race 2. What format is it, Justin?
International.
You're right.
International
If-
format. The
the,
tracks for
the,
international are Kyalami, Suzuka, and um Bathurst. I remembered.
Nice, nice, good job, good work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the distant shout, "Kyle on me!" was great. I enjoyed that. But you're correct. So next week, it'll actually be 1 week from now. We're cutting it pretty close because we had to skip a week for the Canadian Thanksgiving. So the 24th, Kyalami will be our double parking first one, and we'll have to see how stuff goes. Keep tuned. Um, and we'll have more for you. If you liked what you see, join us at ESR Discord, ESR-race.org. We got invites there. We do all sorts of racing series all over the place. Everything all the way down from 3D speed and this really serious, Assetto Corsa kind of stuff, all the way down to we have Wreckfest Fridays, just beat up on each other, and it's always we're just here for a good time. So if you're interested at all in racing, join us, and we'll welcome you with open arms. And we're always looking for new people to keep the racing fresh. That's all I got, Justin. Anything you wanted to throw in?
No, it was wonderful to make a guest appearance here. I can't promise to make the whole season, but I will be more than happy to help out where I can. So if you're in a pinch and you need someone to come into the booth and rile you up a little bit and hit you with all the best puns and movie references from the early 2000s, I'm your guy. I'm also signing off.
Sounds
It's
good.
been wonderful.
It's been a great one. Happy to have you. Glad to be back. Look forward to doing some with you later, and we will catch you later. I've been Cole. That's been Justin. Join us, ESR-race.org. Bye.
Bye bye.